Hello, my name's Michael, and for the past 3 summers I've been examining A-level English literature papers for edXL. Now in this video I'm going to offer you some tips on how to get full marks for your analysis of language. Language analysis is one of the things that's assessed under AO2, or Assessment Objective 2. It's not the only thing, but it's an important aspect of it, and I've got lots of tips to help you. In future videos, I hope to explore other aspects of AO2, and also how to get best marks for context, comparison, critics, etc. If that sounds useful, why not subscribe? And while you're down there, hit like. But if you want more dedicated, personalised feedback, why not hire me as a private tutor? But by the end of today's video, you should know how to get your writing from average to outstanding. I'm going to show you by showing you how an examiner actually marks a piece of analysis. And I'm going to use the focus of a poem called He Wishes for the Cloths of Heaven by W.B. Yeats. Now, don't worry if you don't know this poem already. It's very short. It's only 8 lines long, and it's really rather lovely. It's worth knowing. Trust me. So, here is the poem. He wishes for the cloths of heaven. Had I the heavens' embroidered cloths, enwrought with golden and silver light, the blue and the dim and the dark cloths of night and light and the half-light, I would spread the cloths under your feet. But I, being poor, have only my dreams. I have spread my dreams under your feet. Tread softly, because you tread on my dreams. So, what's this poem saying in a very basic level? Perhaps we could paraphrase it. Instead of had I the heavens embroidered cloths, we could read that as if I had the heavens embroidered cloths. And the heavens embroidered cloths is clearly a metaphor for the night sky. If I had a fabric like the night sky, or the fabric of the night sky, enwrought, that is worked in with golden and silver light, that is blue and dim and dark cloths of night and light, i.e. day, and the half-light, i.e. twilight, I would spread this fabric, these cloths, out under your feet for you to step on. But I, being poor, he says, have only my dreams, so he can't afford such a rich gift. Instead, he spread his dreams out under your feet. Tread softly, he says, because you tread on my dreams. So this is a poem of a poet, or rather a lover, to his beloved. My paraphrase here really took away quite a lot from the poem. It detracted from the power of the poem, didn't it? In our analysis, at best, we want to show how the magic works. We want to reveal the magic trick, really. How is this such a beautiful and powerful piece of literature? But we're going to start right at the very bottom of the mark scheme. We're going to start with candidates who haven't managed to do that. It's important for us to see what a level 1 or the bottom level result, a piece of analysis should look like. We can gain knowledge, we can learn something even from these low-level pieces of work. So this is an example of a level 1 piece of work with limited understanding of the writer's craft. This does not really show any understanding of the poem at all. The speaker of the poem is confused, he says. He asks, had I the heavens embroidered cloths? This shows how he is questioning whether or not he owned them before. He shows his lack of certainty by omitting a question mark at the end of his question. So, what's gone wrong here? Well, this candidate has read the first line of the poem, had I the heavens embroidered cloths, as if it was an entire sentence, as if the meaning ended there. Now, of course, it doesn't. In fact, the whole poem is one long sentence, and you need to consider more than just a line if we're going to know what a thing means. An example of a word that means something very different in a different context might be trying. You know, I'm trying very hard means something completely different to you're very trying. Okay, so our lesson here is always read sentences, even when they go across lines, even when they go across stanzas, which happens in a lot of modern poems. Okay, so we did gain something, I hope, from our level 1 analysis. What about a level 2 analysis? Well, this is a bit more effective, but it's still very general. We've got straightforward analysis here. The speaker of the poem refers to the richness of the heavens' embroidered cloths to show how truly special he finds his beloved. Words like golden and silver show how he really loves her because they are valuable metals that jewellery is often made from. Now, this analysis, though it focuses on words from the poem and doesn't make the same mistakes as the first example, still is very general. You could analyse any poem with the words golden and silver in this way. The poem does not include any reference to jewellery, for example. There's nothing in the poem really being uncovered. Although we are on the cusp of greatness, we're on the cusp of something that would achieve much better marks. Let me show you what I mean. Sorry, this is clear or relevant exploration of the writer's craft. We're up to kind of the middle of the mark scheme. This is, broadly speaking, where probably most candidates actually are when I mark papers. Yeats shows strong emotions by using imagery to create a rich, beautiful picture of what he wishes he could give to his beloved. The heavens' embroidered cloths suggest something magical and valuable. Words like golden and silver light, and the colours of night and light and the half-light, create a dreamy, romantic picture, showing how highly the speaker values the person he's speaking to. He says he would spread the cloths under your feet, which is a very respectful and loving gesture. This shows deep admiration and love. Okay, so this is a lot better than what we've had so far. I mean, things are really starting to work here, aren't they? We've got points supported by evidence, but we've also got enough control to fit this analysis into the structure of the poem. The outline of what the poet is trying to do is combined with the analysis of the language. But the analysis is quite surface level still. Dreamy romantic picture is somewhat vague. The analysis doesn't necessarily work together all that powerfully, all that effectively. We don't really feel that the candidate has got very far beneath the surface. How can we get from here up to the higher bands? If we're looking for an A or an A star, what do we need to do? Well, we need to get beyond the word level. This is a phrase that's not on the marking grids of any of the exam boards, including the one I mark for. But it's really, really useful, and it's a phrase I hear from my team leader a lot in standardization meetings. Say we're trying to work out how many marks an essay should get in terms of analysis. The question is often, does it get beyond the word level? This phrase is really useful because it shows how meaning really gets beyond surface level analysis. You have to connect that analysis with deeper structural movements within the text. Let me explain that in simpler terms. In a novel or a play or even a long poem, you might have patterns of imagery that are associated with a particular character. So all the way through, let's say, you've got some terrifying kind of character who keeps being associated with hellish imagery, a bit like the Martians in the War of the Worlds. In your analysis, you could take one instance here, one image that is an example of this hellish imagery, but explain it as part of that wider pattern. and connect that to the way that meaning is created, how this being or this character has been characterized in the text. In a shorter poem, you can do the same with something called a semantic field. This is where we look at the class or type of words that we find in a poem in terms of semantics. What do they all relate to? Let me show you an example that we find in He Wishes for the Cloths of Heaven. The speaker longs to show how much he admires his beloved, but feels that he is inadequate. The words embroidered and enwrought combined with golden and silver belong to the semantic field of material value. This implies that the speaker wishes to offer a valuable gift to his beloved as a kind of tribute that shows his devotion. But this is contrasted with the only thing he can offer, his dreams, which are things of no material value at all. He longs to show his esteem, but fears that she will find him inadequate. So the semantic field here is that of material value, of things that we can buy with money. And words like golden and silver, embroidered, enwrought show this kind of material worth. And structurally within the poem, we know that meaning is created between that contrast between this material value, i.e. like the richly embroidered cloths of the heavens, and the speaker's own dreams, which in a sense might be even more precious, though he is confessing that he feels they are not. And the analysis here is more discriminating, it's more thorough, it's also a bit more nuanced. It's a bit more sophisticated, isn't it? He longs to show his esteem, how much he admires his beloved, but he fears that she's not going to see him as being worthy of her. She won't find him adequate. Okay, so this is an example of level 4 analysis, or higher up in the kinds of marks that start attracting marks like A's. Now, another way that we can get beyond the word level is by looking at structural qualities of language. For example, this discriminating or thorough exploration of the writer's craft looks at the placement of the words on the page. The poet expresses devotion to his beloved, but confesses that he is poor. And indeed, his poverty is such that he cannot even afford rhymes, resorting to repetition instead. Cloths, light, feet, and dreams are each repeated. This contrasts with the richness of the embroidered cloths that he feels that his beloved deserves. The poet feels hopeless in his devotion. So this level 4 reading has considered the placement of the words as they are emphatically positioned at the end of lines where rhyme words normally are. But in this poem, as you may have noticed, there are no proper rhymes. It's all repetition, cloths and light and feet and dreams. And rather cleverly, this feature is linked to the idea of the poet's poverty, that he can't afford rhymes. Perhaps because he's just so poor. After all, he can't afford the metaphorical cloths of the heavens, which nobody can really buy, so it's kind of appropriate, isn't it? But this is an example of a discriminating piece of analysis that gets beyond the word level. It's not just looking at that word light, it's thinking about its pattern, its structure within the poem. What do things look like when we get higher up the mark scheme? Well, this is up to is up to the very top. Something perceptive evaluation, some effective analysis. The poet's devotion to his beloved is intense, but tinged with hopelessness. He contrasts the rich tribute he wishes he could offer, the heavens embroidered cloths, with the humble reality of his dreams. Yet, whether he imagines offering celestial fabric or the contents of his own heart, he sees himself only able to lay them at her feet. This act of submission reinforces the imbalance between them. Even if he were capable of tearing down the very fabric of reality, he would remain beneath her. His love is absolute, but it is marked by a quiet despair and an awareness that such devotion may never be returned. So this analysis is even more nuanced, it's more sophisticated. We get beyond the word level by analysing the rhetorical structure of the poem effectively through the analysis of the language as well. If you've got a paragraph up to this level, does that mean you'll get top marks for language analysis? Well, it could do, yes. You don't have to get you don't have to get the highest level analysis all the time. You just have to do it enough. Now, that brings us to another question really, which is, if the task is to get beyond the word level, can't we just analyse language? Can't we just analyse structure, I'm sorry? Isn't analysing structure an easy way to get beyond the word level, since after all it is, beyond the word level? And the answer to that question is yes, but analysing structure effectively is actually very tricky. Earlier on we saw an example of a rhyme scheme. If you simply describe the rhyme scheme, as many candidates do, or you outline what the rhyme words are, you don't get any marks. You don't get any marks for describing the poem. You only get marks for effectively analysing the poem. So relate that structure to the wider themes of the poem, the wider meanings of the poem, the message of the poem, shall we say. And that is often quite tricky. Sometimes finding, say, a semantic field or patterns of imagery that you can connect to those themes might often be easier. I hope to come back to structure and other aspects of AO2 in a later video. So if you've not yet done so, please click subscribe. For now though, all that remains for me to do is summarise the key points that I've been making. Read whole sentences rather than just lines when you're trying to work out what a poem means and when you're analysing a poem. 2. Get beyond the word level. If you want your analysis to be really, really good, you've got to get beyond the obvious, and you've got to get beyond analysing individual quotes as if they were singularly meaningful by themselves. Get beyond that. Connect your analysis together. Get beyond the word level. Relate to structure. Consider bigger ways that meaning is created in our text. I hope that's clear, and I hope to see you in my next video, in which I'll teach you how to nail context, how to get full marks in your analysis of context in your literary essays. If that sounds useful, join me then. I very much look forward to it. Bye.